Welcome to Flat Earth Philosophy. This is everything flat Earth. If you want to understand how and why Earth is flat, this is the right site. This is the only site that explains the whole model. The shape of it, design, its recycling system, its perpetual motion. It's all broken down. You can relate physics to it if you open your mind. I can give you a lot of information that's connected with physics. But today, you're in for a treat. This is going to be the most mind-blowing flat earth video you've ever seen. So you might want to sit there and listen and watch everything I have to say, because at the end of it, you're going to be blown away. This is going to go into two videos, so I'll leave all the juicy bits into the second video. So this video, I'm just going to lead you into it and all the aspects involved with what I'm about to reveal. So it's understanding that the Earth is flat, and that's the model looking down on it. Forget about all the pictures you've seen at NASA, from NASA if you're a spinning ball believer. Forget all that. If you don't want to forget it, we'll just put it in the back of your mind. I'm just going to take you into the realm of reality, not fantasy. That's what it looks like. The northern hemisphere, look, same size out here, if you put it there like that. But everything expands out from the center of the universe, which is the Arctic center, the hyperboloid, that creates the toroidal field. The toroidal field that we live in. Here's a model. We live inside this. All the energy comes out of that choke point, just like in a ring magnet. Northern hemisphere is flat. Flat hemisphere. Then it curves down in the south. Curves down. So if you've got an image happening up here, and you've got the tropical gap, then we get a mirrored image over here of the same motion, but in reverse. It's a parabolic image. This is what we get. So before you start screaming, no, they can't be the same stars, well, they are. Those are the same stars, but you cannot find them unless you follow what I explained, but that all comes later or earlier videos. But you've got a wider dispersed field out south. Tight, small magnetic field in here, weaker force out here, more dispersed. And you've got the Milky Way more dispersed, splattered out here. You've only got half a night to see it in, right? But you've got to be at the precise moment to see the north to south alignment. And you've got to know what you're looking for. So we have two forces, a strong force and a weak force. This is magnetism. This is the north and south pole that you've not been told. You've only been told they are equal. They are equal in potential energy, but there's the difference because one's weak, one's strong. So all the energy out here equals this energy in here. So obviously that's stronger because it's more confined. So you have to understand that. And in the center of the universe is creation. It's all created in the center, above the Arctic center. A place of inaccessibility for man. We cannot get to the dead center of the Arctic through pressure. The high pressure on the system, the human body, prevents us from getting to the dead center. We will die. Just like we can't get further south. Low pressure in the tropics. It's what creates the weather. High pressure to low pressure to high pressure. Keeps the wind moving. The magnetic field is in the wind. It's described by the ancient Egyptians. All the ancients knew everything, and I'm going to show you how they all knew and how the whole thing works. Now, it all starts from water. But before we get into that, I'll just come down to this I've just drawn up. Why the rotation, why we get the directional rotation of our celestial bodies. It's due to the strong force and the weak force. So if you can imagine something in between here in the tropical gap, because all the celestial bodies move around this tropical gap. So you look at this, it's got a strong force coming out of the north, strong field, and the weaker field reverse coming out this way. They merge at the tropics. If you know your science, you'll understand all this. It's what the wind does too. And see how they merge like this? It's a longer route around here. This is why they tell you live on a pear-shaped ball, because of the stretched area here. It's all rubbish, living on a ball. And then you get the curving magnetic field lines. If you travel the world with a compass, you'll follow this curve until you get to the tropics. It'll be dead straight, north to south. It's a meridian. Meridians all the way around. Dead straight. I've shown that in the previous video with the bow and arrow. Check that out. From the Iliad. So I've got this image here. This is basically what's going on here. We've got all this action in the tropics. And you've got to understand what's happening in the tropics is a blown up image of creation. Creation's back at the centre. So what's happening in the black hole that we do not see, and science tells you it's beyond the event horizon. Look, is this an horizon? We can't get past this zone. We can't get in there. You can't fly. Look, we're way down here anyway, way down here. You can't get up here into there. But this is expressed into the toroidal field. The hyperboloid, the torus is an expression of the hyperboloid centre of creation. This is all a big blown up image. So it's in the centre here, which is in the centre here. So what's happening in here is what's actually going on in there. And I know what's going on in here. So therefore I know what's going on in there. Because the ancients have all described it, and all the ancient stories, mythological stories, all the philosophy, religion, it's everywhere. I'm going to take you on a journey, and it's going to bring you back to religion as to why religion? Because it's all connected. And religion knew all along, especially Christianity. Well, the Christian symbol of Jesus on the cross, it's universal because it represents creation. So in Genesis, when they talk about creation, they're talking about a one-off creation of the earth. At the same time, man has a one-off creation, his second birth, his spiritual birth, his rebirth in the physical world. He has to go through that rebirth to gain spiritual ascension and move on without being recycled back through the system to have another go. And the Hindus tell you this, that you could be around for millions of cycles. But if you ascend and you wake up spiritually, then you get out of that recycling system and you enter into the celestial state. And it's all to do with the sun, but we're going to get right into that. So that's the goal of man while he's in the physical world. Alive, not dead and after. Don't believe all these Egyptologists, what they're talking about after you're dead and gone. Physical death. No. It's spiritual reincarnation, basically. Your old way of thinking dies. Your physical birth beliefs and understanding die off, and you are reborn. You're mentally awoken. Your part of your brain wakes up. You start to understand everything. It's when you get the nous and the wisdom, all the knowledge. So bear in mind, when you do die, if you are really ignorant, well, actually it's like a lucky dip. The recycling system, you don't know if you're coming back as a human being or some sort of animal, because we're all connected from the same energy field. So energy can't be created, it can only be recycled, can't be destroyed or created, it's just recycled. So, if you look at a lot of animals, they have the two hemispheres of the brain too, don't they? They have the two hemispheres in the gap, and they have the pineal gland as well. Well, at some stage they may have been a human. So treat animals with a bit of respect. The animals with the two hemispheres anyway. Because one day you might come back as one of those. And then when you get recycled, you might come back as a human again if you're lucky, and have another go at waking up. But that's the goal of life, waking up, ascending, going through the recycling stage, just like Earth is being recycled and renewed all the time. And I'm going to get into that. So, did I get onto that? Or it's about, so it's the direction of their rotation. And it's because of the strong force, the forcing this way, and this is forcing that way too, but it's a weaker force, isn't it? So they're not really fighting each other because it's a strong force. It's going to win every time. So it spins it that way. So this is looking down on the Earth, okay? And everything's moving west, isn't it? If you look up, it's working in the opposite direction. So this is the centre vortex here, above the Arctic here. This is what's going on here. This is the upward motion, spiralling up, because the vortex, you know, we get vortexes in our realm, spirals, tornadoes, same thing. And it's all about water. Creation comes from water. This is vortexed water in a magnetic field, in a strong magnetic field. So looking down, you've got clockwise on the water. The Buford Gaia spins clockwise, pure water that's come from above, drifted down from the actual sun as mist and mist, pure hydrogenated water. And then you've got the other force coming in this way. And that's the strong force. This is the weak force, strong force. So you can consider this as the magnetic field, which we call the electrons in this model. Because what you have to understand is we're all in an atom. So imagine an atom, and when you look at an atom, you've got the nuclei, the protons, the nucleus in the centre, and all the atoms moving around the outside. So blow that up, the size of our world, and that's what you've got. You've got the magnetic field as the electrons floating around, spinning around out there, all around out there. Right in the nucleus, there's the neutron, nucleus, with the sun, the proton. One proton. And like I say, it all comes from water. It's all to do with hydrogen. This is where the free energy is going to come from. So this video is also all about nuclear fusion, not fission. This is the big problem. If we carry on with the nuclear energy, it's green, but the waste, the uranium, they're storing that underground, and they do their best to keep it away from any underground water. But if that seeps into the underground water, then we're all doomed, because it's the pure underground water that runs from the Arctic centre, subterranean, that comes up and feeds this system in the tropics. So if that water's tainted, then we're screwed. The water may not get purified like it should. It might do, it might still get purified, but no, because the energy that comes off, the kinetic energy that comes off the water molecules that get sucked up here through the low atmosphere, they are the ones that go through the stages and feed the sun and create the place of rest, the black hole, which creates our whole realm. So it's all recycling, it's running itself. It's a perpetual motion, right? So you have to understand everything is water and it's hydrogen atoms. So you understand that? While we're getting our rotation, the way things are happening in the sky, star rotations, this is the path the stars take. Not that you see all that, but it's all working like this. This direction of everything, it all works like this. Can't be debunked. It's the whole flat earth model. So, let's come up here. Everything involves water. Solar luminescence, because it's resonance, light, frequency. That's all we are. We're just vibrating atoms, resonating to a frequency, certain frequencies. The potential energy within pure water. It's all about pure water. So just like the earth needs pure water for its recycling system, or for its system to work, so does the human body. drinking your municipal water is not very good for your body at all. It needs to be pure water. For this and all your joints, your body, your system, it needs the pure water. So you can buy machines that give you pure water. Vortex water, you re-oxygenate it. You can spin it in a magnetic field. But you start travelling overseas, you can't take that with you, and you start drinking all that water you have to buy off shelves. It's still got, they add stuff to it to keep it stable. It's not good for you. You need pure water. So does earth. The kinetic energy through friction of the pure water molecules. The high kinetic energy of the water molecules can cause the hydrogen atoms to escape. Now, I might not be using the right terminology because I'm pretty basic, and I'm just going to give it to you so basic people can understand it. To escape into the lower atmospheric pressure zone on Earth, which is in the tropical zone. So all the water, so you understand, I'll get rid of that now. Got a good picture of that. Weak force, strong force. This is magnetism. North pole, south pole. North pole, strong force. Get rid of that. So the water, once the system's going, everything has to work together. If you take one out of the system, it all collapses. So you've got to picture it as in motion already. The hydrogen has come up here in a gaseous state, reached helium actually to feed the sun, and it goes past through the sun and starts becoming a liquid again, as a mist, and it all just mists. The mist just falls back down into the Arctic centre here as pure hydrogenated water, and it seeps down into the aqueducts below the earth. This could represent the 4 rivers. They're underground, that bring the water to the rest of the world. It comes out of there and feeds the rest of the world in 4 directions maybe. So it's flowing through under the ground. Maybe it carries on, but anyway, it gets to this point here, and there's always dual forces, counter forces, always going like this all the time to give us energy. So the kinetic energy in these molecules, or the friction within the water, the flowing water underground, whether it's friction between the molecules and the actual water itself, or the friction on the earth, it creates a high kinetic energy field, right? And they can leave the system and rise up through here, where there's a lower pressure zone, as gas, and it just carries on up through the tropics. So this is a special kind of energy here, and then you've got to realise the magnetic field flowing of the earth, which comes up there, down there, through here, up there, down there, and over, back up here again, in this rising field. So realise we're talking about the atom again, the exploded atom. These are all the electrons. What's in the nucleus? The proton. Remember, this is a blown up version of the atom in here. That's an atom too. The choke point, the black hole, and the sun. The proton, the neutron, nucleus. It's expressed out here. So you're getting the protons out here. Protons. But what's happening is you're getting this nucleus force up to the centre. Up to the centre. And you're getting this going on. That's not very well drawn, but That's your snake. And what have we got at the very top? Bang. The cross member. Now we're talking the religion. You just got into the religious side of things. This comes up like this, and that comes up like that. That's actually representing the bird at the top here. In the Egyptian mythologies, the bird represents the highest ascension. You've reached the top. And so it's all to do with pairing. And how do we get this tropical gap? What's forming the gap? Because that's what hydrogen atoms are doing, you see. You've got the strong force and the weak force of the electron racing to this point. But because there's one proton in each of the atoms, each side, they're repelling each other. So they get to this sort of sweet spot where they cannot merge anymore. They cannot. But it's thanks to this system down here that comes up through the guts here, creates the bonding, the nuclei. Now, step back a bit. As this is coming up, this is hydrogen atoms. They're getting purified. I'm not giving you all the details here because I'm not a physicist. But physicists like to deny this, but they don't know what they're talking about because it's way up high, it's beyond them. The noble gases. The purification of this hydrogen, these atoms are going through stages of purification. All the way up, going to the noble gases. And this represents the iron rod. A man will come and rule the world with an iron rod. I-O-N. He will tell people about this. Because it's the ionization, it's the lightning that changes the atoms, the structure, the hydrogen atoms from one state to another as they ascend through the noble gases. The noble gases are just pressure layers. And this is the firmament layers that's in Genesis. Waters below, waters above, separated. Because at the end of the day it's still a state of water, even though it's gas. And the gas is getting more dispersed as we go up because it's going into a vacuum. Everything's dispersing. Okay? So all this interaction is what's happening here. So what happens is it gets right up to here and it's loosely bonded. Bang! You get the strong force and the weak force electrons meeting. Bang! At the same time, the two atoms, the two protons of the hydrogen are meeting. Bang! Thanks to the glue, the ionization through here, the nuclei now, they bond, they go off to feed the sun, and the weak and strong force of the electrons create equilibrium. And that's what the black hole's all about. Equilibrium, state of rest. They find balance. That's what feeds the black hole. Okay? So what's happening here is happening in there, is what's actually happening there. But because this is the created, an expression of creator, of the creator, it has to feed back into the creator to keep the perpetual cycle going. Up, look, and there's the infinity symbol. The snake. The snake, the serpent, represents the magnetic field. It's all there in your face, everybody. Jesus died on the cross. What dies? The atom is pulled apart, ripped limb to limb. It's described in the Iliad. Ripped to pieces, dies. But reborn, bingo, to feed the sun. Because he's the Son of Man. You could say it's the man version, but there's the earthly version. They're the same. They run parallel. Dies, but reborn, gives life. That's what this is all about. Man, raising his kundalini. You see this up his backbone. Snake, the magnetic field of Earth and the moon, but that's another story. So it's all happening up here. That's the magic spot. The two protons have combined to create helium. That's Helios, the sun. Helium. It's two hydrogen protons merging. How do they merge? It's all deep, but it's all there. This brings you back to religion, understanding what the whole cross is about and Jesus on the cross. We'll show you some pictures. You look at that one, you go, oh, what's going on? Jesus at the cross. Vector images. Vectors. There's another topic. What's this one? Crucifixion. Jesus Christ, a religious symbol. Vector image. What's this? He died that lived. He died that I lived. Died here so that lived. Saved the world. A man came to save the world. Do away with the magnetic fission, nuclear fission, go to nuclear fusion. He is risen. He has risen. No one physically died in religion. You've been suckered. Look, the light. What happens up here? The light, the sun. Helios. Look at this one. The crown. That's the crown, look. You're up the top. All the jewels. He's been given the jewels. He's the crown. He's the enlightened one. Look, he's holding his hand like that. The twisting. Twisting. And he's also got this one hiding something in the palm of his right hand. There you go. Here's another one. Put that one there. What's this one? Two sides. Strong force the male. Weak force the female. Look at that. Strong force the male, weak force the female. There it is there. Look, he's standing on a cross. Crisscross. Crisscross. This is pairing, marrying, sons and daughters. Because these are the daughters, the electrons are female. The sun, the protons are up the middle here. Remember the centre of the nucleus? Here, centre of the nucleus. Exploded image here, what's going on? Physics will all wake up to all this. There's the bow and arrow, the magnetic fields of Earth. In the Iliad, the straight line between north and south. The compass will follow the straight direction, north to south there. Otherwise it follows this magnetic field, look. Two spirals. Spirals out of there, spirals out of there. Those fields are the same. Both norths, you could say. That's in a lot of earlier videos of mine. So there you have it, everybody. I've just connected physics with religion. They knew all along back in the day. You go deep into all their phrases, all their religious texts, and they're describing this whole system. The Iliad does, Plato does, all the Egyptian America. Read a lot more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. There it is, everyone, the cross. Why the cross? Why the wooden cross? Because it's not conductive, is it? It's the neutral zone. And also representing ionisation. Ionising. So it's going through the purification system. And this is what your vibrations, raising your kundalini, your chakra, getting up to the top chakra, the light, the gold. Okay? Getting your vibrations from down in your sacrum, this is hell, raising them through your system up to your pineal gland, up to the top of your head, opens up the brain, opens up your pineal gland. That's the Son of Man, the Son of Earth, the Son of Man. Look at that, the most famous symbol of creation, because it is creation. Man's awakening is creation. It's when he's reborn. That's creation, because it runs parallel with the Earth's creation, a one-off event. Earth was all about water. Everything has come out of the water. Man's pineal gland, when he wakes up, comes out of the water, left high and dry. Noah's Ark, left high and dry.